India has stakes too. India sees West Asia as a part of its extended neighborhood. It is home to millions of Indian workers who send valuable remittance back home. Various estimates put the number of Indian nationals living and working in West Asia at anywhere between 7 million and 12 million. According to the Indian Embassy in Riyadh, more than 3 million strong Indian community in Saudi Arabia is the largest expatriate community in the kingdom. Their expertise, sense of discipline and law-abiding and peace-loving nature makes the Indian expat community popular among public and private sector companies in Saudi Arabia. India was, remember, the largest remittance-receiving country in the world in 2016, and a major chunk of the remittance originates in West Asia. The top 4 remittance-receiving countries in the world, in fact, include India, China, the Philippines and Mexico. But between 2014 and 2016, India recorded a 35% decline in registered number of workers emigrating to the West Asian region in general and the Gulf in particular. The Indian Foreign Ministry says it caused a slight drop in overall remittances by Indians living abroad. It was attributed to the economic slowdown in the 6th Gulf Cooperation Council or GCC countries of the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman and Bahrain. Besides the Indian diaspora, Saudi Arabia is also India's largest source of crude oil, which makes the bilateral relationship that much more strategic. India imports around 19% of its crude oil requirements from the Saudi kingdom. Therefore, it goes without saying instability in the region will have an impact on the Indian economy. Now, President Donald Trump of the US spent 24 hours in Seoul. Despite demonstrations against his visit, he appears to have given strength to an old ally and in the process sold them more military equipment. Take a look at this.
I really believe that it makes sense for North Korea to come to the table and to make a deal that's good for the people of North Korea and the people of the world. I do see certain movement, yes, but let's see what happens.
US President Donald Trump striking a hopeful note at the end of his talks with South Korea's President Moon Jae-in. But there were also flashes of bellicose rhetoric.
We will together confront North Korea's actions and prevent the North Korean dictator from threatening millions of innocent lives. He is indeed threatening millions and millions of lives, so needlessly.
Trump has in the recent past slammed South Korea for its attempts to build bridges with the North. He had also expressed negative sentiments about the defense partnership with the South that seems to have been put behind.
대통령의 이번 방안이 한반도 상황을 안정적으로 관리해 나갈 수 있는 전환점이 되길 기대합니다. 북한 핵의 동결과 또 궁극적으로는 북한핵의 완전한 폐기에 이를 때까지 미국과 중국의 어떤 긴요한 협력이 반드시 필요하다고 보고 있습니다.
Some of Trump's sweet talk may have been the result of South's willingness to buy more US military equipment. Consultations are expected to begin before long. There were demonstrations in Seoul against Trump's visit. Many Koreans suspect Trump has no interest in peace on the Korean peninsula. In fact, the US president has accused President Moon of being soft on the North. Moon hopes to use China's good offices to begin some kind of dialogue with the North. Bureau Report, WION.
And joining us this evening, Ray Locker, National Security Editor at USA Today, with us from Washington. Ray, I'm sure the American press is tracking every move of their president in South Korea. No war-mongering, no talking about fire and fury, the rocket man. He's actually said it'll all work out. Is Trump striking a conciliatory tone finally?
Well, he is today. I mean, as we've seen with this president on so many other different issues, he says many things at many different times. I think the fact that he's in Seoul and has a chance to see the proximity of that capital of South Korea to North Korea, he has a different idea of what's happening there. As we've discussed before, any military action against North Korea touches South Korea. There's no way around it. The same with Japan. So now he's actually visited the neighborhood, understands it, and that's probably tempering his comments somewhat. But again, as we've seen before, he can say one thing one day and totally contradict himself either later that day or the next day.
And this is a 12-day, 5-country tour through Asia. Would you say that the visit to South Korea was the most challenging part of this tour?
I think so, because it's right on the front lines of what could be a military conflict with a nuclear-armed rival. It gives him a chance to take the measure in South Korea of Moon Jae-in, who's a relatively new president, for him to see what South Korea is like, to visit military base there for U.S. troops. Anytime you're there, you get a greater sense of what it's like. And I've been to Seoul, I've been to the DMZ, and it really does make a big difference to see what it looks like, how close the two countries are, and the array of military equipment that the North Koreans have to use against South Korea if they want to.
I'm going to leave it at that. No visit to the demilitarized zone, which traditionally American presidents have done in the past. No raising human rights issues, as one headline put it, a defining element of American foreign policy. Remember, last month he said direct talks would be a quote-unquote waste of time. In Seoul, he said that it is in Pyongyang's interest to come to the table and make a deal. That's Donald Trump for you.